Lime vibe. Oh, Lime vibe.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to another Lime Vibe Live podcast. I'm your host, Yuri Aramakemp, here from the beautiful islands of Nassau, Bahamas, of the country of the Bahamas, actually. I'm on the island of Nassau, New Providence, and here we are once again, broadcasting to you live, again, with another Lime Vibe Live podcast. Please, if you have not done so, please like, share, and subscribe to our Facebook and YouTube and Twitch page. That's Lime Vibe 77. That's Lime Vibe 77 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And we would greatly appreciate your patronage, my dear. So thank you for joining me again. This is another Friday. This is a Friday, March 15th. This is the third month in 2024. This year is about a quarter way done. You know, I hope you guys have been sticking to your New Year's resolutions. I know I have. So I thank you for joining me again. We have a really good show tonight. We're going to talk about this Honduran president, Juan Orlando Hernandez. He's finally being convicted inside a New York court for drug trafficking. Wow. It marks about 3 weeks of testimony, a dramatic testimony involving former public officials in Honduras, testifying against, Orlando Hernandez. And he could spend up his life in prison. So if you go to Caribbean Magazine Plus, you'll see the story there. It's being done by Inside Crime, investigative journalist team that's living in Latin America that covers stories around the Latin American Caribbean region with regard to crime and illicit activities. So yeah, go read that on Caribbean Magazine Plus. Yeah, so there was after Juan Orlando Hernandez for about a year now, especially since President Xiomara has taken over. What's her name? Xiomara Castro, the president of Honduras. So she's not a president now in Honduras, but they were after Juan Orlando Hernandez for quite some time now. They say he's been involved in drug trafficking with even the famous drug trafficker. What's his name again? I can't remember his name, man. Mexican drug trafficker. What's his name? Not Felix. His name is something else, man. Oh my goodness, what's his name? I can't remember the guy's name, man. El Chapo. El Chapo. How can I forget El Chapo's name? El Chapo. Juan El Chapo. Yes. El Chapo Guzman. He was involved in El Chapo Guzman. So yeah, he's going to spend his life. He's most likely going to spend his life in jail inside the United States. So that's a wrap for him. And also, we have Kenyan officials are pulling back their commitment to send police officers to Haiti after talks have broken down after Ariel Henry has left office. He's resigning office, pending a presidential council that's going to run things in Haiti until elections are done. Elections are ready for Haiti again. So we had Kenya promising over 1,000 troops, but then they're pulling back right now, saying they're not going to send the troops anymore after they found out Ariel Henry could not enter back into Haiti. Because while Ariel Henry, the prime minister of Haiti, was over there in Kenya trying to gather up support for these troops, Haiti went into chaos. A lot of prisoners broke out of Haiti's jails, and they've taken over the capital, Port-au-Prince. It's a no man's land, and apparently, Barbecue, the top Haitian gangster Barbecue, he's actually in charge of Haiti right now, believe that or not. And the government's collapsed, and Ariel Henry was holed up in Puerto Rico for about a few days and couldn't return until gang leaders like Barbecue had demanded his resignation from Haiti. So now Kenya's not sending troops anymore, and so I don't know where that puts Haiti right now. So that peacekeeping effort is gone, and also the Bahamas joined suit and said they will not be sending troops. Kenya's not sending any troops. So this international peacekeeping mission that was supposed to gather around for Haiti, apparently this has collapsed, and it's quite unfortunate. So who's going to set order back in Haiti right now? It goes back to what we were saying initially. Maybe the United States and Canada maybe need to do it themselves. Maybe the United States and Canada need to go there and set order themselves. That's what probably has to happen, because that's what I was asking for initially anyway. Because we know that the regular Caribbean countries and anyone else other than a European country would not be able to stick to it in Haiti. All right, and they haven't even gotten on the ground in Haiti, and they've already pulled back. So They're full of big chat and can't defend nothing. They're full of big talk. A lot of big talks, but can't really do nothing, man. And that's no slight on them. I can see why they would want to pull back because, it has no leadership, but that's why we're sending you there. They have the set leadership and the set order in Haiti. We didn't say it was going to be easy or pretty. So you were actually supposed to go ahead to set order in Haiti. And all that big talk, you can't do it, man. Also, another big story in the region. I think we've spoken about this before as well. Nobody's into this free movement of labor, this free movement of people between the Caribbean region. Nobody's interested in that at all. Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, said that at the end of this month, we're going to have an agreement on free movement of people. And that elicited a response from Antigua's government saying that, no, we're not interested in that at all. And the Bahamas already is not a signatory to the Caribbean Single Market Economy, but the Bahamas has also said, we're not interested in that because we're not a signatory to the Caribbean Single Market Economy. So that's all. So you already have Antigua and Barbuda and the Bahamas off the map, off the charts. So what are you going to do now? Maybe Prime Minister Mia Mottley spoke too much ahead of time. She spoke ahead of her time. Maybe she did. And that's just unfortunate, man, because they've been working the CSME for years, man. And it hasn't moved really much since they actually signed the agreement. Back in 2003, I think it was. And no one really cares about it. No one wants the CSME. At least in the Bahamas, we don't. And it seems as if it just lost steam. Like, what are we trading for? Who are we trading with? What do you have to trade? What are we going to get from you? The only person right now worth trading right now with is Guyana. Because they're fresh off of their oil find. And they have a burgeoning economy. You could get something from them. But the rest of these other Caribbean guys, what the hell? Why are we bothering with you? You don't need you. So maybe it is that the CSME is collapsing. Maybe it was a pipe dream to begin with in the first place. That could be the case. That very well could be the case. Because think about it now. You signed it for the free movement of people and to have the tariffs removed from importing goods from the Caribbean. You actually signed for that. And none of that has actually happened. Since about 20 years ago, none of that has actually happened. Nothing has happened. You've made no mechanisms to actually move forward. You've had, the Secretary General of CARICOM, Dr. Carla Barnett, saying that, hey, you don't need to sign on to all of the provisions. You could actually sign on to a few things and just work along with it like that. But they haven't really been moving towards anything. They haven't signed on to anything. It's the same way where it was 20 years ago. Nobody wants to say SME. And that's just the truth. Another story tonight was, I know everyone's pretty much heard this right now, right? DJ Azim Palmer, a.k.a. Vibes Cartel, or World Boss, quote-unquote, had his 2014 murder conviction of Clive Lizard Williams quashed by the UK's Privy Council, the highest court in Jamaica. Yeah, I said it. The UK's Privy Council, the highest court in Jamaica, yes. Palmer, a well-known reggae and dancehall artist from Jamaica, despite being in prison for led a prolific lifestyle even while he was in prison. Because even though he was in prison, he was still making music, and people were still seeing him on the streets. So why was he locked up in the first place? Oh my goodness. I'm going to play you the clip of, the UK Privy Council actually questioning his conviction. They said, among a lot of other things, that the jury was all messed up. One of the jurors had actually left, and they were down to 11-man jury. And on top of that, the Jamaican officials, they gathered evidence illegally by getting the cell phones outside of the Jamaican Intercept Commissions Act. One act inside the Jamaica. They gathered cell phone data from Vibes Cartel and his co-defendants illegally to use that inside the court against him. But I'm going to play you a clip right now from the UK's Privy Council. Listen to the ruling here. Listen to the ruling.
Judgment in the matter of Sean Campbell, Adidja Palmer, Kahira Jones and Andre St. John against the King.
On the 13th of March 2014, following a 64-day jury trial in the Home Circuit Court in Kingston, Jamaica, the appellants, Sean Campbell, Adidja Palmer, Kahira Jones and Andre St. John were convicted of the murder of Clive Lizard Williams to whom I shall refer as the deceased. At trial, the prosecution case was that the deceased and another man, Lema Chow, had been given 2 unlicensed firearms belonging to Palmer for safekeeping. On the 16th of August 2011, Campbell summoned Chow and the deceased to Palmer's house after they had failed to comply with Palmer's deadline for returning the weapons. The prosecution alleged that they were met on arrival by Palmer, Jones and St. John, and that Chow and the deceased were both attacked, after which Chow saw the deceased lying motionless on the ground with Jones bending over him. Chow escaped, but the deceased was never seen again. Police attended Palmer's house on the 22nd of August 2011. They noticed the house smelled of disinfectant. On the 25th of August, they cordoned off the perimeter wall, treating the premises as a crime scene. When they returned on the 27th of August, they found that the entire interior of the house had been destroyed by fire. On the 29th of August, police forensics reported a foul odour emanating from the living room. On a further visit on the 30th of September, it was discovered that the rear of the house had been demolished. Police dug at the premises but did not find a body. The police seized the mobile phones of Palmer and St. John. Text messages, voice notes, and a video from those phones were put in evidence at trial. The prosecution also relied on telecommunications data which the police had obtained from Digicel, a communications provider. The prosecution case was that the mobile phone evidence and telecommunications data, taken as a whole with Chow's evidence, proved the fact of the killing, the reason for the killing, the method of disposal of the deceased's body, and the identity of at least one of the killers, namely Palmer. The 4 appellants each denied murdering the deceased. At trial, the appellants objected to the telecommunications data being admitted as evidence. They argued that the data was inadmissible because it had been obtained in breach of the Interception of Communications Act and the fundamental right to the protection of privacy of communications guaranteed by the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedoms contained in the Jamaican Constitution. The judge admitted the evidence. He ruled that the data could be relied upon by the prosecution even if it had been obtained in breach of the Charter or the Interception of Communications Act. Over the course of a 64-day trial, there occurred a series of incidents involving the jury. The jury was reduced to 11 members after a juror was discharged almost 8 weeks into the trial. On the final day of the trial, it was brought to the judge's attention that a member of the jury, who will be referred to as Juror X, had attempted to bribe other members of the jury. The judge questioned the jury forewoman, who stated that Juror X had offered bribes to each of the other jurors to acquit the appellants. The judge asked counsel for the prosecution and the defense if the trial could continue. It would not have been possible only to discharge Juror X, because under the Jury Act, a trial for murder cannot continue with fewer than 11 jurors. The judge decided to proceed with his summing up and gave a direction to the jury, reminding them of their function. The jury retired to consider its verdict at 3:42 p.m. The jury returned at 6:08 p.m. and by a majority of 10-1 convicted all 4 appellants of the deceased's murder. A 5th defendant was unanimously acquitted. Juror X was immediately arrested and was later convicted of attempting to pervert the course of justice. There was no evidence to connect his activities with the appellants. The appellants appealed against their conviction to the Court of Appeal of Jamaica, which dismissed their appeals. The Court of Appeal granted permission to appeal to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council on 3 grounds, which were, first, that the trial judge failed properly to inquire into allegations of juror misconduct. Secondly, that the trial judge departed from standard practice in inviting the jury to retire to consider their verdict so late in the day, putting undue pressure on them to reach a verdict. And thirdly, that the trial judge erred in admitting the telecommunications data because it had been obtained in breach of the Interception of Communications Act and the Charter. The Judicial Committee of the Privy Council has unanimously concluded that the appeals should be allowed and the appellant's convictions should be quashed on the ground of juror misconduct, and that the case should be remitted to the Court of Appeal of Jamaica to decide whether to order a retrial of the appellants for the murder of Clive Williams. The Board has considerable sympathy with the dilemma faced by the trial judge on the final day of a long and complex trial. Following the allegations of bribery, he had either to continue with the 11 remaining jurors or to discharge the jury. Despite this, the Board considers that the approach taken by the judge was a material irregularity in the course of the trial, which makes it necessary to quash the convictions. This is for 3 reasons. First, the direction to the jury on the final day was inadequate to save the situation. The judge simply reminded the jury that they had sworn or affirmed that they would return verdicts in accordance with the evidence they had heard in court. The judge did not refer to the alleged bribery, of which, if the allegations were true, the jurors were already aware. Secondly, the trial continued with the allegedly corrupt juror serving as one of its 11 members. In the Board's view, there should have been no question of allowing Juror X to continue to serve on the jury. Allowing Juror X to remain on the jury is fatal to the safety of the convictions which followed. It was an infringement of the appellant's fundamental right to a fair hearing under the Jamaican Constitution. Thirdly, the judge should have considered whether the remaining jurors might have become, consciously or unconsciously, prejudiced for or against one or more of the appellants as a result of Juror X's behaviour. For example, there was a danger that the attempted bribe could have made the other jurors overcompensate, consciously or unconsciously, if they assumed that the offer must have come from one of the appellants and that therefore they must be guilty. The judge took no account of this risk. The Board is very mindful of the serious consequences which may flow from having to discharge a jury shortly before the end of a long and complex criminal trial. It is also very conscious of the danger of deliberate attempts to derail criminal trials by engineering situations in which it is necessary to discharge the jury. In England and Wales, there is legislation which allows a judge in certain situations to discharge a jury because of jury tampering and to continue the trial by judge alone. There is no such legislation in Jamaica. It follows that there will be occasions where, as in this case, a court will have no alternative but to discharge a jury and end the trial in order to protect the integrity of the system of trial by jury. In view of its conclusion on the issue of juror misconduct, the Board holds that it is not necessary to express a concluded view on the other 2 grounds of appeal. For these reasons, the appellant's appeals should be allowed. The Court is now adjourned.
Well, there you have it. The UK Privy Council laying it out right there. Saying that the appeal against the 2014 murder of Clive Williams by, world boss Vybz Kartel, Adidja Palmer, and his co-defendants should be quashed and their appeal should stand. So there you have it, It is what it is. Just a kangaroo court in Jamaica. There's no legislation that deals with, juror misconduct after a jury has been found to be incompetent, to say the very least. And there's nothing to discharge the jury that will let a judge stand alone and conduct the trial by himself. You heard this Privy Council right there yourself. You heard them say it. And that's the highest court in Jamaica. Because there's still a Commonwealth country underneath King Charles. There's still a UK, part of the UK system, the Commonwealth system. So that's quite unfortunate, man. So now you're going to have, world boss Vybz Kartel back on the street making even more murder music. Now he's going to feel emboldened. He's going to feel more stronger now that, he can make this murder music and do whatever it is he wants on the streets, You have Jah Cure locked up again inside Holland right now. like he hasn't learned his lesson. So, most likely, where Vybz Kartel isn't going to learn his lesson, he's going to be back in jail sometime soon. So just be patient. I just feel for the family of Clive Lizard Williams, though, who's dead, and his family can't find justice. And that's the unfortunate thing of all this entire thing right here. But you have to blame the Jamaican justice system for botching the case, for actually bungling this in a severe way, and embarrass the Jamaican judiciary. Anyway, let's start back over the top. So we talked about, Juan Orlando Hernandez, the former Honduran president, who's now facing life in prison inside New York City jail for drug trafficking to the United States. He's found guilty of drug trafficking to the United States. That's the first, former head of state that we've seen take the fall since Noriega, I think it was. So yeah, there you have it. Juan Orlando Hernandez, the former president of Honduras, he's going to spend most likely the rest of his life inside a U.S. federal prison for drug trafficking to the United States. We also had Kenya, back away from sending troops to Haiti. They backed away, say they want no part of it anymore. Haiti is too much of a mess. 2 or 3 days after Ariel Henry had visited Kenya, they're trying to solicit support for the 1,000 troops that Kenya was supposed to send. When Haiti fell into chaos, you had gangs that let hardened criminals out of jails, and now they're taking over the entire central city of Port-au-Prince, and they're running amok inside the capital, and they've taken over the airports. It's actual chaos. It's chaos in Haiti. Nothing that can be done until someone of a larger force steps in. So the Kenyan troops aren't coming in. Because the Kenyan troops aren't coming anymore, the Bahamas troops, who were supposed to send a few troops as well, they aren't going anymore. It doesn't make any sense for them to go. Why would they send 100 troops to be slaughtered in the streets by barbecue? By someone named Barbecue. My God. Pray for Haiti, please. And we also have, the Caribbean Free Movement of People. The CSME, the Caribbean Single Market Economies Initiative for Free Movement of People. That seems to have fallen apart. Days after Prime Minister Mia Mottley of Barbados said that the Caribbean is going to reach an agreement on the free movement of people, you had Antigua and Barbuda start and say, no, we're not ready for that yet. And we had the Bahamas jump out and say, no, we're not even a part of the CSME, so we're not even going to even think about free movement of people. So that's falling apart. So maybe Mia Mottley spoke ahead too soon about all this kind of stuff right now. Maybe she spoke ahead too soon. Maybe she did, because no one's interested in that. And that goes to a larger issue as well. No one seems to care about the CSME anymore. I mean, no one cares about the Caribbean Single Market Economy. It's been 20 years now, no movement. Just let it be. Maybe even longer than that. But I remember the big push back in 2002, 2003, when this large agreement that our foreign minister at the time was promoting, and we should sign on to. And the Bahamians said, no, we weren't interested in that. And after that, there's been no movement in the CSME since that. Yeah, Bruce Golding put a whole entire report about the CSME and its pitfalls and its lethargic nature, and nothing's happened. The Golding report spoke very clearly that these guys have to commit to the CSME, and they have not done so. So that should show you where the commitment is for the CSME. No one cares about it. That's just the truth about what it is. And lastly, like how we just talked about just then, let's talk about Vybz Kartel, world boss. He is now a free man in Jamaica. Vybz Kartel, world boss. Now he's free to make murder music now. You hear the UK Privy Council quashed his 2014 murder conviction of Clive Lizard Williams. So that's a wrap. So now you're going to have him on the streets now. I pray for Jamaica as well too, because that can't be good. That dancehall music that Vybz Kartel and those guys make, that's equivalent to drill music in Chicago. That sends these guys crazy. These guys go bananas when they hear that kind of murder music, man. It has to be something of the devil. Anyway, that's our show for tonight. It's a pretty short show. Not much to talk about really like that, but I thank you for joining me again for another Live Vibe Live podcast. And if you have not done so, please like, share, and subscribe to our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch page. That's Line Vibe 77. That's Line Vibe 77 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And there's a link inside the description as well. A link that you can donate to the show. That's Line Vibe 77. That's Line Vibe 77 at Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Okay? So thank you for joining me for another Line Vibe Live podcast. I'll see you again next week, Friday.